Roll call.
Ms. Carter? Mr. Hibbert?
Here.
Ms. Klein?
Here.
Ms. Huffman?
Here.
Ms. Enlow?
Here.
Mr. Newton?
Thank you. First, if you would, I want to thank all the veterans or active military or retired military or retired law enforcement or first responders. If you would stand up, please. We want to applaud you. Just give them a hand. Thank you so much. Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you for your service. Okay, next, approve the January 24th, 2022 regular meeting minutes. Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Stacy,
Second.
second by Deb. All in favor, signal by aye with hand up or aye. Okay, 5 hands are up. Thank you. Next, City of Shepherdsville observes the holiday of President's Day. City Hall will be closed on February 21st. New business. A, this is discussion on disbursement of the ARPA funds for employees. And I think you, Council, you might have a packet in your group there. If you want to turn to it.
You're talking about the one, the ideas?
Yes,
of
ma'am.
the art money?
Yeah, ideas on use of ARPA monies. Okay.
In the final ruling, which will change 10 more times, of how to be used, and that was all attached.
Okay.
I know at one of the meetings, we discussed about maybe having some kind of committee. I don't
Yes,
know
or
where
maybe
we
having a
stand with
special
that.
meeting or, yeah.
After we've all looked over this.
You wanna do that? What is the council? You wanna have a special meeting for the ARPA?
I think we could at least hear some people that have signed, if they've signed up to talk for it, hear what they
Yeah.
got to say, we'll make notes, and then we can have a special meeting because if we try to deal with this today, we're gonna have a very long meeting.
Oh, I know, yeah. Well, we need to have an avenue so they can get that out to us for the meeting, so.
Right. Well, if they're here now, at least they could give
Yeah,
us some
let 'em
ideas.
speak.
Let's let them speak today
Okay.
of what they're asking for, and we'll add it to our list.
Nobody has signed up for that. Tell you what, we can give about a 1 minute, you know, or
Well, more than a
speech
minute.
or topic, if anybody here wants to speak on the ARPA funds. Anybody wanna do that? Brother Perry? Okay, stand up and, or if you want to, can you come over here for a second? We'll put you on like a 1 or 2 minute timer, and
Push the button on.
throw some, throw some ideas out there.
There you go.
Need his address.
Oh, yeah, your name and your address.
Yeah, my name is Perry Cook, and I represent Mark 12 Ministry. And really, I don't even need that long.
What's your address?
My address, 189 Adam Shepherd Parkway, number 17.
Okay.
So or do you need my home address?
No, your business address.
Okay, that's my business address. And I only just need a minute. And I have had this discussion with you all before about the ARPA money, and actually handed out last council meeting the 8 buckets that the federal government recommends for the ARPA money to be used, and our ministry falls square in just about every one of those categories other than broadband and sewage. So we don't do any of that. But as far as helping the community, helping those that have been impacted by COVID and continue to be impacted by the results of COVID, our ministry is square on the front line of that. And it's just not our ministry, it's ministries like Housing First that are dealing with this as well. And so I think portions, not all, Certainly, there's a lot of great things that can be done in this county and in this city with that funding. But I think some funding should be allocated to nonprofits that are impacting the well-being of our community. And again, a few of those examples are, we provide monies for people with bill payments that when they get short on being able to make bills. We provide food for those who have food insecurity. Believe it or not, 18% of our kids here in Shepherdsville experience food insecurity. And so also impacting those who are unhoused. Again, and I'll talk about that later when I talk about Mark 12. We've ministered to over 50 individuals this year alone in the last 6 weeks that are unhomed, and also the mental health crisis that we have in our community. And so that, I believe, should have some money earmarked to address those issues. Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you, Brother Perry. Okay, anybody else? There's still some clarification on what the money's spent for. I had a meeting Friday with Brett Guthrie, Congressman of Washington, and mayors and the county judge and several magistrates. Sheriff was there. So we're trying to get clarification for that also. So I believe this council has a desire, I believe, to have a special meeting set up in the near future. So if y'all wanna look at your calendar? Okay.
Can y'all do the 17th this week?
I can't do it either, yeah.
That's the only day this week I can't do it.
Oh,
Okay.
What about next week, 23rd?
What about the 16th? That Wednesday?
I don't,
Do we want it to hit the Pioneer
Oh.
news, or, I mean, I don't
yeah,
know.
I think,
It's up to you all, but I didn't know how
I
much
would
you
wait
wanted
till
to
the next week or
publicize it.
later, or the one after that.
I'm completely open next week.
Next week?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what about next week, you guys?
I'm good.
I can't do
Wednesday?
Monday other than
I
that.
can't do Wednesday.
Wednesdays are bad for me, and I have
Sorry.
class.
Tuesday, Thursday, all week.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can make an exception if, well, we
Monday,
can't do
Wednesday,
Monday
Friday?
because it's a holiday.
Yeah.
I can't ever do a Monday.
Yeah.
I can do Friday.
Oh, man. What about the next one,
Friday.
March 1st?
What,
When's our deadline now? When is our
well,
deadline? April 30? Okay.
let's try to get it in next week. Kenny, what days you can't do it?
Tuesday, Thursday.
So Wednesday doesn't work?
Oh, there's a
I
couple
can do
can't make it.
I'll just have
Can
my
you do
husband
Wednesday?
take-
Bonnie said no Wednesday.
I got something on Wednesday, but I'll
Oh.
make
I'll
exceptions.
miss church.
Yeah, yeah, me too. I love the Lord, so. So you wanna try Wednesday?
I'll do it.
Okay.
I'm not happy about
What
it, but
date?
I'll do it.
What date on it? 16th or 23rd?
23rd.
23rd,
Because
All right.
16th is 2 days
Wow.
from now.
yeah.
23rd will give time hopefully for it to get to the Pioneer.
Okay, so-
Can we put something on the website too?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So the February 23rd at 6:30?
Can we do 6:30?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, if y'all are okay. Okay, now is that the desire of the council here? All in favor? Looks like,
Sort of.
okay, I'll be here too, 23rd. Tammy, can you make it?
I'll be here February 23rd at 6:30.
Okay, so February 23rd at 6:30, if y'all would like to attend, we would enjoy it.
The sole issue of the ARPA.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the only discussion.
All right, once again, it's February 23rd, 6:30, here at City Hall. Okay, next, first reading of ordinance 022039.
Ordinance number 022-039, an ordinance amending the City of Shepherdsville, Bullitt County, Kentucky annual budget by line item for the fiscal year July 1, 2021 through June 30, 2022, by estimating the revenues and resources and appropriating funds for the operation of city government. Section 1 sets forth a line item budget for all departments of the city of Shepherdsville, with the exception of the sewer department, which is addressed by separate ordinance. The annual budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2021 and ending June 30, 2022 is summarized herein by category as follows. And this is an amendment. Let's see, in the estimated revenues, miscellaneous revenue was originally $10,040. That's amended to $135,723. Total estimated revenues to the general fund was $17,088,129.48. That's amended to $17,213,812.48. Total resources available for appropriations from the general fund was $21,909,198.13. That's amended to $22,034,881.13. Fire department total capital expense was $555,000. That's amended to $680,683. Total fire department was $6,137,963.31. That's amended to $6,263,646.31. Total appropriations from the general fund was $20,839,585.55. That's amended to $20,965,268.55. Section 2 sets forth effective upon publication. Section 3 sets forth publication requirement. Section 4 sets forth repealer. Section 5 sets forth severability. Given first reading by summary at a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Shepherdsville, Bullitt County, Kentucky, on the 14th day of February 2022. To be given second reading by summary at a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Shepherdsville, Bullitt County, Kentucky, on the 28th day of February 2022.
I have a correction, possibly a correction.
Correction.
Mine says ordinance number 021.
It should be 2-2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Got a quick question. Do you know, did that, there was about $125,000 difference in revenue. Did that all come from one source? Any idea?
Wayne, do you remember what she said? Did that all come from one source, that 125,000? Extra revenue for your,
For us?
Yeah.
It's
two sources?
Two sources.
Okay.
Yeah, one was the, state grant we received,
Oh, that's,
and the other one was the federal grant we received.
okay.
So you had the whole 125 roughly,
Yes.
128, okay.
All right. Okay, thank you. Next is, first reading of ordinance 022040.
Ordinance number 022-040, an ordinance pursuant to KRS 81A.412, annexing into the city of Shepherdsville, Bullitt County, Kentucky, 30.57 acres of unincorporated territory of property located at 245 Forest Hill Road and owned of record by Vicky Jo Mulren, Terry Lee Reynolds, Deborah Reynolds, Robert C. Reynolds, Phyllis Reynolds, Mark W. Reynolds, Stephen Lee Hollingsworth, and Regina Faye Hollingsworth, by consent of all property owners of record of the properties. Whereas Kentucky Revised Statute 81A.412 provides that a city may annex any area meeting the requirements of Kentucky Revised Statute 81A.410 if each of the owners of record of the land to be annexed gives prior consent in writing to the annexation. Be it ordained by the City of Shepherdsville, Bullitt County, Kentucky. Section 1. The City of Shepherdsville, Bullitt County, Kentucky finds that the areas to be annexed, described in and depicted on the attached Exhibit A, and incorporated herein by reference as if set out in full, were adjacent or contiguous to the city's boundaries at the time the annexation proceeding was begun. Section 2. The City of Shepherdsville, Bullitt County, Kentucky finds that by reason of population density, commercial, industrial, institutional, or governmental use of land or subdivision of land, the areas to be annexed, described in and depicted on the attached Exhibit A, are urban in character or suitable for development for urban purposes without unreasonable delay. Section 3. The City of Shepherdsville, Bullitt County, Kentucky finds that each of the owners of record of the land to be annexed, described here and below, has given consent in writing to the annexation. Section 4. The City of Shepherdsville, Bullitt County, Kentucky does hereby annex the territory described in and depicted on the attached Exhibit A. Section 5. This ordinance shall take effect upon publication. Section 6, should any section, clause, line, paragraph, or part of this ordinance be held unconstitutional or invalid for any reason, the same shall not affect the remainder of this ordinance. Section 7, parts of any ordinances in conflict with this ordinance are hereby repealed. Given first reading at a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Shepherdsville, Bullitt County, Kentucky, on the 14th day of February 2022, to be given second reading at a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Shepherdsville, Bullitt County, Kentucky, on the 28th day of February 2022.
Thank you, Tammy. Okay, Eric, is there any questions? Eric, you representing?
Good evening, yes, I represent the applicants, and this is the Reynolds family. They own property on either side of Forest Hill Road, and currently the boundary of the city bisects their property, so we'd like to put all of their property under the city's jurisdiction. There is a contract with a developer who hopes to be able to put together a plan. We're still looking at that, evaluating floodplain issues, access, and all those things. Hopefully we'll be able to come back with something soon, but right now this is so that they can have their property all in the city.
Okay, thank you,
Thank you.
thank you.
Is there anyone signed up to speak on this?
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next, first reading of ordinance 022041.
Ordinance number 022-041, an ordinance amending the Bullitt County City zoning order and Bullitt County City zoning map as amended, changing the zoning of 4.8128 acres, more or less, located at Bel Air Drive and Cooper Run Road in the city of Shepherdsville, Kentucky, also known as parcel 037 SE001-017C, from agricultural to B1 highway business. Whereas the Bullitt County Joint Planning Commission held a hearing on January 13th, 2022, and based upon the testimony offered in that hearing, found that such change is not in agreement with the adopted comprehensive plan, but that there has been a major change of an economic, physical, or social nature within the area, and has recommended that the Bullitt County City zoning order and the Bullitt County City zoning map be amended to change the zoning of 4.8128 acres located at Bel Air Drive and Cooper Run Road, also known as parcel 037 SE001-017C, from agricultural to B1 highway business. And whereas the City Council of the City of Shepherdsville, Bullitt County, Kentucky, approves of said recommendation. Now therefore be it ordained by the City of Shepherdsville, Bullitt County, Kentucky, Section 1, the Bullitt County City zoning order and the Bullitt County City zoning map are hereby amended to change the zoning of 4.8128 acres located at Bel Air Drive and Cooper Run Road in the city of Shepherdsville, also known as parcel 037 SE001-017C, from agricultural to B1 highway business. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect upon publication. Section 3, should any section, clause, line, paragraph, or part of this ordinance be held unconstitutional or invalid for any reason, the same shall not affect the remainder of this ordinance. Section 4, parts of any ordinances in conflict with this ordinance or any part of this ordinance are hereby repealed. Given first reading and public hearing at a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Shepherdsville, Bullitt County, Kentucky, on the 14th day of February 2022. Given second reading at a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Shepherdsville, Bullitt County, Kentucky, on the 28th day of February 2022. Tammy, did I say that wrong?
Thank
Is
you.
this the public hearing or is the next meeting the public
No,
hearing?
first meeting usually is
Okay,
public
so then
hearing.
we need to change that. Yeah, so I said it right.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I think we have the, retired county attorney, John Waters, and sitting attorney, John Waters, so.
I represent Mitchell and Patricia Hagan, and we, this case was presented before the Bullitt County Joint Planning Commission. I'm sure, or at least I think I'm sure all the council members familiar with Bel Air Road and Cooper Run Road. If you've been out there recently, you can see that everything south of that has been pretty well clear cut. The new interchange road from Preston Highway to I-65 has been in place. This piece of property sits facing Cooper. To the north of it, it attaches to a core drilling place, and which is zoned light industrial. To the south, it attaches to Electron Properties, Jesse Flynn's outfit. That's also light industrial. To the west, it also is light industrial. This property basically will be utilized by Mr. Hagan and his family. It's going to be a family business. There's not an intensive development. The building that is currently on there will be utilized for the business. Property, while it does not meet the comprehensive plan, there's been substantial change in this area. It's now, again, has quick access to I-65 via the new road. It does have city sewers, it does have water, it is available. Everything in the area, for the most part, is either vacant ground or residents that have been here for many years. Property at the end of Bel Air Drive is owned by some other individuals that will probably be commercial as well. At the meeting, there was no one who showed up to speak against it, but if there was anybody that wishes to comment, I'll be glad to answer those questions as well as council questions right now.
I have a question.
Sure.
I'm assuming they're gonna make their entrance to this business on Cooper Chapel? Not Cooper Chapel, Cooper Run.
I didn't quite understand, Miss.
The entrance to the business?
Oh, it's gonna be off of Bel Air. The building's already, there is already a building in place and it's on Bel Air. I anticipate what's gonna happen at some point shortly, probably that whole area will go to light industrial and Cooper Road will probably cease to exist with a new entrance on Preston Highway. But that's not been anticipated done in the near future.
Okay. The only thing I'm concerned about is how bad a shape Bel Air is.
Right, well, he is the first house on the left. So if that becomes an issue, he has access on Cooper as well as Bel Air. So if that becomes an issue, I'll advise him that he needs to look for an alternate means of ingress and egress. I do not believe that there is gonna be any heavy truck traffic. He does a very light delivery with small vehicles, mostly pickup trucks and one-ton trucks.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Any questions out in the audience?
And it was approved by the planning commission?
It was.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Can I ask you, what is the actual next meeting? Is it the 20th?
28th.
28th, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, now we're down to E. This is a reading of ordinance 022042.
Ordinance number 022-042, an ordinance amending the Bullitt County City zoning order and Bullitt County City zoning map as amended, changing the zoning of 2.28 acres more or less, located at 566 Cedar Grove Road in the city of Shepherdsville, Kentucky, also known as parcel 03700000013A, from R1 residential to B2 central business. Whereas the Bullitt County Joint Planning Commission held a hearing on January 13th, 2022, and based upon the testimony offered in that hearing, found that such change is in agreement with the adopted comprehensive plan and has recommended that the Bullitt County City zoning order and the Bullitt County City zoning map be amended to change the zoning of 2.28 acres located at 566 Cedar Grove Road, also known as parcel 03700000013A, from R1 residential to B2 central business. And whereas the City Council of the City of Shepherdsville, Bullitt County, Kentucky approves of said recommendation. Now therefore be it ordained by the City of Shepherdsville, Bullitt County, Kentucky, Section 1. The Bullitt County City zoning order and the Bullitt County City zoning map are hereby amended to change the zoning of 2.28 acres located at 566 Cedar Grove Road in the City of Shepherdsville, also known as parcel 03700000013A, from R1 residential to B2 central business. Section 2. This ordinance shall take effect upon publication. Section 3, should any section, clause, line, paragraph, or part of this ordinance be held unconstitutional or invalid for any reason, the same shall not affect the remainder of this ordinance. Section 4, parts of any ordinances in conflict with this ordinance or any part of this ordinance are hereby repealed, given first reading and public hearing at a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Shepherdsville, Bullitt County, Kentucky, on the 14th day of February 2022, to be given second reading at a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Shepherdsville, Bullitt County, Kentucky, on the 28th day of February 2022.
Thank you. This also has a favorable recommendation from the Bullitt County Planning and Zoning Board, and the administrator sent a letter for that.
Has anyone signed up for that?
No, ma'am.
I have a comment on it.
Yes, go ahead.
Reading in all the paperwork, it says that they're going to have to build the property up to the 100-year flood map. That area already gets major flooding in that area. There are many houses that get flooded. My concern is if we start building that up, and there's a lot of houses very, very close to this, how is that gonna affect them if somebody builds there and builds it up? That water's gotta get to place somewhere, and there's no place there for them to put in a retention pond.
Yeah,
So I just wanted y'all to
yeah,
realize
just be aware of that.
that, because I'm very concerned about it, what it'll do to the people on that road.
Okay.
Was there anybody that spoke at the, it was approved,
It was approved at the,
Be in there if anybody did.
I don't think anybody spoke, did they?
hold on, yeah, let's check and see all that. I think they would have one person on there for.
There's Trish Ford, sorry.
Trish Ford recused herself from voting as she's part owner and will be speaking, but that's, and so no one else signed up to speak.
No one else signed up against it or to speak on that behalf? Okay. Okay, well, the council will take this under consideration as well as the others, so. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
The survey that's on here, is this the most up-to-date survey? Or would anybody know? 'Cause this goes back all the way to
I don't know,
2009.
Trish was gonna, make the meeting in the last minute, she didn't show up here, so, because it was favorable. But, well, if you wanna make a note of that, we can ask him on the.
Okay, yeah, I've got
what
it.
was your question?
I was just wanting to know, the survey is dated way back in 2009. I
It's
just
the
wanted to make
latest.
sure there
Seen that.
hadn't been any
Yeah.
changes to it since
Yeah,
then.
so, yeah, well, it'd be a good question to ask her when she comes back. Okay. And I don't know if Joe Rahill spoke on it or not, but his name was under Trish Ford there. Okay. Are any other questions? Okay. Let's go with, this is a resolution of the adoption of the KIPTA Regional Hazard Plan.
Commonwealth of Kentucky, City of Shepherdsville, Bullitt County, Kentucky, resolution of adoption of the KIPTA Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan. Whereas certain areas of the City of Shepherdsville and Bullitt County, Kentucky are subject to periodic flooding, tornadoes, severe winter storms, severe thunderstorms, landslides, and other hazards or natural disasters that have the potential to cause damages to people and properties within the area. And whereas the Shepherdsville City Council desires to prepare and mitigate for such natural hazards, and whereas under the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000, the United States Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, requires that local jurisdictions have in place a FEMA-approved hazard mitigation plan as a condition of receipt of certain future federal mitigation funding after November 1, 2004, and whereas the KIPTA Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan was developed in accordance with the regulations of the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000 and the guidance provided by the Federal Emergency Management Agency. And whereas to assist cities and counties in meeting this requirement, the KIPTA Area Development District has facilitated the development of a multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan covering member jurisdictions of the KIPTA Area Development District, including the City of Shepherdsville. And whereas the Shepherdsville City Council has participated in the hazard mitigation planning process. Now therefore be it resolved that the Shepherdsville City Council hereby, 1, adopts the KIPTA Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan as the official hazard mitigation plan of the City of Shepherdsville, and 2, vests the County Office of Emergency Management with responsibility, authority, and the means to A, inform all concerned parties of this action, B, develop an addendum to the hazard mitigation plan if the jurisdiction's unique situation warrants such an addendum. 3, appoints KIPTA Area Development District Regional Hazard Mitigation Committee to assure that the hazard mitigation plan be reviewed according to the plan maintenance section of the plan and that any needed adjustment to the plan be developed and presented to the County Mitigation Committee and to Shepherdsville City Council for consideration. 4, agrees to consider any other official actions as may be reasonably necessary to carry out the objectives of the KIPTA Regional Hazard Mitigation Action Plan for the City of Shepherdsville and Bullitt County, Kentucky.
Have we received a copy of this plan?
Thank you. No, this is paperwork that's included with the 200,000 that's going to the, what is it, down there, the, Frankie Simon? Remember the 200,000 for people who sign up for, help pay for their sewer and water, and that it?
Has there been any disbursement on that?
Not yet, it's not even been put into our account. Tanya checked it, this week, today, and it's not in there yet.
Okay.
It's something else we have to do for the paperwork to,
Okay.
from, KIPTA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, the hazard mitigation plan.
Mm.
I wonder if Arthur Jones has more information.
Arthur, do you have any information on that?
Arthur
So this has a mitigation plan that's put up by KIPTA, Region put it together, all counties participated in it, you can view it online.
So if you go to KIPTA's website, they've got an online portal, to where all this report, instead of putting together a 385 page, booklet and try to hand those out, it's organized into an online portal so that you can look at maps, you can look at projects, and you can look at descriptions. So this mitigation plan is kind of a, hey, if things get bad, how do we mitigate our risk? How do we retain our resiliency as a community and bounce back if something like tornadic, hurricane, flood, if any of those things happen, how do we come back from that? What do we do? What do we have in place, and how do we respond? And so all that's in this plan, and it's on an online interface published as a portal as opposed to an actual document, because it's easier and it's faster to be able to get that information. Plus, if anything were to truly happen and you're not gonna be able to go to the flooded building and get the book. And so you will be able to log onto your phone and grab the resiliency plan, turn to page 17, and look at what steps you take now, so.
And we have to adopt this in order to get FEMA monies if a disaster hits and we want federal aid.
Correct.
This is a prerequisite
This
to
is a
getting federal
prereq for
aid.
all the grants that we're getting
Yeah.
through KIPTA right now, whether it's ARPA
Yeah.
or any of the other funds that
200,000.
are coming through KIPTA. We've got to have this in place.
And KIPTA does a great job.
before the- Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah. We worked on this plan specifically for 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's a big plan.
Thank you, sir. If y'all remember, that's where the lady named Olivia, I think Olivia Rancine
Yeah.
came and spoke to us.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, old business, this is
Oh, this
tabled.
has to be, this, we need action on this.
Oh, okay, we need action on
I'll make a motion.
Bonnie made a motion? Okay. Okay, let's see, what was, second by Kenny. Okay, any other questions? Okay, all in favor? Carries 6-0. Okay, thank you, council. All right. Now, this, old business, this was tabled. If there's any reason to bring it off, we'll move on through it. The next one was tabled, but Tammy read the ordinance in the beginning with just the fire department change. So, you want to take that, leave that on there tabled next time? Okay, so he'll have his, okay. Okay.
We discussing item F?
Just did.
You can?
I just read, oh.
He
No, I'm
just
saying, what was,
You skipped that one. What was that about?
it's
Oh, that
on
was
there.
it, the mitigation.
The
The
resolution of
resolution that I
adoption.
read.
We just
read.
got,
Did I read it before?
No.
Mayor
Oh,
said?
you
it
read
It was
G.
You didn't read F.
That shouldn't
Well, I
be
don't
on
have a
there.
G.
That's an executive session,
oh, okay,
so
yeah,
that
we're
will be
sorry, that's
discussed in
executive session.
This one will?
Yeah.
Yes.
The G you're talking about is executive session.
I
Okay.
changed
Well,
it.
RG says the KIPTA adoption.
Yeah, we got the
Yeah,
other.
put the
Oh,
other
we should
one.
get them all.
Okay, so,
Yeah, you don't have a G on
The,
there now.
So move your F to
what
executive
thing?
session.
okay.
Okay. Sorry,
That's okay.
Excuse
it
me.
had to come off.
You know, we don't need to be any more
We're
confused than we
really,
already
yeah,
are.
we're really better than that. Young man. All right, so now, okay, let me see, no planning and zoning update, no board adjustments. I see Dwayne here. Sign-in speakers. Now, this is a 3-minute time limit on the speakers. It looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 4 marked 12s. Does somebody, 2 of them want to talk for most, one want to talk for most of the time, or 2 of them want to talk for most of the time, or are you want to switch your individual 3 minutes? And that's what normally happens on the other cities. They'll let somebody be the speaker, they can talk for a while, so. And that's Nathan, Brandon, Keith, and Perry. Is that how we
Yeah,
do it?
that's
Is
however
that
they
how we
wanna do it.
council? Yeah.
Or each individual get.
Or if y'all
For
wanna,
each
hey,
individual for 3 minutes.
yeah, let's do, we'll do that each individual, okay, cause like I said,
It's all different.
yeah, okay. Okay, who, Perry, Keith, Brandon, or Nathan? Who wants to make it? You can go in your order. Okay, come on up, Brandon. So this is Brandon Asbury. And if you would, Brandon, over here, make sure it's green, sir.
It is.
And you can speak right there and give your name and your address. I have Brandon Asbury, 179 Bay Street, apartment 2.
My name is Brandon Asbury. I live at base 175 North Buckman Street,
Okay.
apartment 2. or Bay Street, Apartment 2.
Okay. Go ahead, sir.
I attend North Bullock Christian Church, and I'm here representing Mr. Perry Cook at Mark 12 Ministries in the White Flag Shelter. Just 7 years ago, before God let me become a father, I just could have easily been one of these individuals that we helped. But he had a different plan for me. And just from the month that I've been there, I've seen lives getting changed and people getting on their feet, and that is Perry's #1 objective, to get them on their feet and help. And I am here to say that I am for making it all year to help these people and to help our community become beautiful and prosperous again. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, sir. Thank you for speaking. Okay, Perry, Keith, or Nathan, who would like to go next? Okay, all right, come on up, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Keith Rodriguez. I'm the lead pastor of North Bullock Christian Church. My home address is 141 Poplar Grove Court, and the church address is 4265 North Preston Highway. Coming to speak on behalf of our partnership that we have with Mark 12 Ministries as a church. I just wanted to share a few words with you this evening. Matthew 25:40 says, of the time of God's judgment, this is Jesus, he says, "Truly, I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine," he says, "you did for me." As a public meeting, I know that not every one of us share the same religious perspectives and viewpoints. As a Christian, I believe in the Lord Jesus Christ and the truth of his word. This statement from Jesus of the final judgment drives me and has enlisted me to this meeting and this cause on behalf of my brothers and sisters who serve the homeless through Mark 12 Ministries, a ministry that my local church, North Bullock Christian Church, is partnered with, both financially and through providing volunteer workers. I myself have worked shifts at the warming shelter and have seen face-to-face the homeless community that exists within Bullock County. I've looked into the eyes of a Bullitt Central High School student who has no home to call his own. The words of Christ echo loudly as I saw him face to face. "Whatever you do for the least of these, you did for me." I'm originally from Southern California. I moved to Bullock County in 2019 to pastor North Bullock Christian Church. In my home state, my local church partnered with an organization that ministered to the homeless, similar to Mark 12. I share this story with you just quickly, the journey of a man transformed through people who housed him and believed in second chances and life transformation. Bill Edwards was my youth pastor when I was a senior in high school. I knew Bill had a past, drug addiction and other struggles, but Bill was a gentle and kind man. He loved me and invested in me. But a few years after I graduated, Bill relapsed. He abandoned his family and gave up any normal semblance of middle-class life. When he came to his senses, in other words, when God got a hold of him, he was brought into what was called the Victor Valley Rescue Mission, very similar to Mark 12 ministry. Bill overcame addiction. He regained job skills. He reconciled with his wife and children. He returned to society a changed man. Bill felt indebted to this organization and continued to work with them in a thrift shop that they operated to support the ministry. He managed the shop, and Bill and I reconnected at this point, as I was a retail manager at the time with Big Lots. He sought out some advice on managing the store. In just a few short years, Bill was named the director of the rescue mission, became an elder in his local church, reconciled with his wife, and continues to be a productive member of society, investing in those who are just like him. I leave you with this. In that town that I was in, the education department in our area relocated from an old facility to a newer facility. The old facility was purchased by the rescue mission to expand their services to the homeless and to further that ministry through work programs with hope of eventually providing microloans to those recovering from homelessness and addiction and aspire to become productive members of the community. Just one more paragraph. As a church partner and a friend, Bill invited me to tour this new facility before they took ownership. He cast the vision he had for the use of this new place. I was unaware of the history of this building, but just prior to it becoming the education department, it was the old jailhouse for the town in the 40s and 50s. As we stood and looked around the facility, I noticed Bill had gotten choked up, tears filled his eyes, his voice changed as a lump came up in his throat. And he looked at me and said, look up at the remnants, and you could see the old prison cells outlined in the ceiling. And then he said these words to me: "My father served time in this prison. And now here I am, saved from addiction and homelessness, leading an organization to help the least of these, moving into that building that once caged my father. Reconciliation, transformation, and change. And I wanna plead with you, we all deserve another chance. We deserve a second chance, and I hope you will consider the stories of transformation that we'll be able to share in our community if we give Mark 12 a chance to carry out their vision here in Bullitt County. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Nathan Young.
Nathan?
Live at 193 Old Hickory Hill Lane, Shepherdsville. And I want to thank you for hearing me out this evening. And very encouraged, first of all, that you all were able to set a date to talk through how to spend the ARPA money. I'm thankful for that, for sure. And this room is filled with pastors and community members and church members and business owners, educators that have come to recognize that poverty is a real problem, like we were talking about before the meeting. We all recognize that. Every one of us recognizes that. And these people are here because they also believe that Mark 12 has real solutions to that problem. Poverty within a community impacts everyone. And I don't have to argue hard on that point. You know this. First of all, it places a great burden on our education system. Before I was a pastor, I was a teacher. And I taught at Mount Washington Middle School. And I can tell you firsthand that the teachers and the administrators, the counselors, had to spend numerous more hours and a whole lot more energy with kids that struggled in homes that dealt with poverty. Often the test scores struggled with, which impacts the funding for the schools. The behavior issues were enhanced with those students. Not only that, a community that deals with poverty also deals with crime and acts of violence. And we recognize that that's a major issue. We talked about that earlier too. I do not believe Mark 12 is adding to that problem. Maybe they are exposing that problem. They're not adding to that problem though. And I recognize that there's a lot of ways you can deal with these problems. Let me go on. There's other issues that affect the whole community beyond crime and violence, because, I mean, desperate people are going to do desperate things. And often drugs and alcohol are what they turn to because they're trying to figure out how to deal with the pain, right? Not only that, poverty within a community spreads disease. When there's a lack of proper health care, it's going to cause more disease. And if the last 2 years have taught us anything, disease can spread and can wreak havoc within a community. Poverty adds to that. And then finally, poverty within a community costs the whole community money. Our current welfare system is costly, it's overburdened, and it's unable to keep up with the growing problem. We need all the help we can get. And listen, yeah, we do send some up to Jefferson County when it's appropriate, or if they're from there. But it's like, if you got a pitcher and you're pouring water into a cup that's already full, it's going to come back. It's just going to keep coming back. And so we have to have answers here in Bullitt County also. We can't just expect to send them off to Jefferson County. We're too big. We've gotten too big. We can't pretend that we're this small town anymore. And so Mark 12 has real solutions, and this is what I really wanted to hit. Why is Mark 12 an asset to this community? Right before we started Mark 12, we read this book called When Helping Hurts. It's by Steve Corbett and Brian Fickard. I'd highly encourage you to read it. But it's very insightful. And one of the points that they make is often when it comes to poverty, we misdiagnose the problem, and we end up treating the symptoms rather than the core issues. And so if you go to the doctor and you've got a headache and the doctor just sends you home with some Tylenol, you might feel better for a moment, but if the core issue you have is a brain tumor, he hasn't really helped you at all. He's sent you home to die. He's been more harmful than he's helped. And here's the thing. Mark 12 has recognized, and this is so key, the problem of poverty is not rooted in a lack of materials or finances, but in broken relationships. Let me say that again. The problem of poverty is not rooted in a lack of materials or finances, but in broken relationships. Let me explain myself. The lack of material possessions and finances that a person has, those are simply a symptom of a deeper issue. And so if we simply throw money and materials at the problem. It's like we're simply handing out Tylenol to somebody who's got cancer. At the root of the problem of poverty is broken relationships. And so broken relationships with their family and their friends, their neighbors, their employers. And so the materially poor are often cut off from key relationships that help us to thrive. And so this is where Mark 12 is different. And this is what Mark 12 is trying to do. Mark 12 seeks to build relationships with the materially poor to help reconcile their broken relationships with their family and their friends, their neighbors, their employers, and ultimately with God, so that they can stand on their feet and stay there. So that rather than being a burden to society, they can be an asset. And so Mark 12 has real answers and real solutions to a growing problem. We recognize Mark 12 doesn't have all the answers, and they're not going to be able to solve all the problems, but with your help, they can have a much bigger impact. You see, a building would be a huge blessing to Mark 12. A building would allow them to operate and give support year-round to a much larger population. Not just a shelter either. Okay, we're talking meals and education and counseling and mentoring and coaching. See, a building will give Mark 12 also some more and much needed legitimacy within the community that's going to help them be able to raise money and support. And so I truly hope you would consider finding a way to allow Mark 12 to continue to stay in the community center. It's been a huge blessing. And Perry's going to share a couple proposals, ideas to hopefully make that work. I cannot think of a better way for that building to be used in our community. My understanding, it hasn't really been used a whole lot since we've had it. And the people who have used it in the past are using other places. And really, what it was being used for, we have other places in the community that can happen. Our church already opens up our facility to the community if they want to come in and have a baby shower or things like that. We've got lots of places where people can do that. But we don't have any place right now where Mark 12
thank you, Nate.
can live. Thanks.
Thank you, son.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen of the council, and ladies and gentlemen of Shepherdsville, I appreciate your support tonight. I'm going to be very quick. I'm going to try to be quick, and I'm usually not. First and foremost, I want to thank the council. I want to thank the mayor. I know that some of you guys may have been caught off guard that the mayor did give us the use of the community center on such short notice, but I will tell you what he did was prevent a health hazard in our community. See, COVID broke out in our homeless community. It was coming from the detention center, and we got 5 patients ground zero at our shelter overnight. And so instead of sending them to the library, sending them to Kroger's or to Walmart where you shop and where your family shop, we were able to get into that community center. We were able to get them in and have them quarantined and help them get through the process of being sick, which also helped us from having a super spreader event. See, here in Shepherdsville and here in Boulder County, we don't have facilities or a plan if our homeless community has an outbreak like they do in Jefferson County. I couldn't just load them up in a car and drive them somewhere to drop them off. And so I want to thank the mayor and I want to thank the city council for allowing us to have that facility on such short notice so that we could stop something much bigger from happening in our community. I'd spoke with you guys shortly last month about the detention center. We know the detention center gets inmates from all over the state, and when they get lit out, if someone's not here to pick them up, they go right up to our library. And so, I'd give an example. We had 4 4 inmates that were in the center because of sex crimes, and they landed right in our library, and they're not from Bullitt County. And had I not been in the library, had I not had a ministry where I'm connecting with those who are homeless or looking for help, I wouldn't have come across them, nor would any of our citizens, until maybe something would have happened. But we were able to prevent that. And I was able to get them into facilities in Jefferson County that could help them in their particular needs. And also I got 2 of the individuals back to the counties in which they came from. See, without Mark 12, that wouldn't happen. So we're not only trying to help the community and our county, I'm also trying to act as a gatekeeper, because the detention center is not going away. If anything, it's going to grow. And so also, if we think about if Jefferson County adopted the idea that they were not going to help any residents that did not live in Jefferson County, I will tell you right now, the floodgates would open, because I've spent all summer taking people to resources, drug center, drug rehab centers, the Healing Place, Reese Center, taking them to Isaiah House in different counties to get drug treatment. If they said, no, we're only helping people from this county, we would be up to our ears with more addiction and more mental health problems, more homeless. And so we're trying to get that figured out. Also, I wanted to let you know this Wednesday, or next Wednesday and Thursday, we're doing the K count here in Shepherdsville. This is the first time that has ever happened. The K count is the Kentucky count for the homeless, where we are actually going to go out to the hills and the hollers. We're going to go out to the tents and to the camps, and we're going to count the homeless. Now, what's that mean to Shepherdsville? It means funding from the state. That has never happened in our county. And we're actually partnering with Volunteers of America. Volunteers of America in 2021, with the help of Housing First and Mark 12, we were able to house 44 families and individuals from this community that had lost their housing. And so it's that partnership that we build a synergy with other resources that really help our county get back on their feet. I know that I've been to the fiscal court, I've been to the planning and zoning. We're building houses that start in the 300,000s. And I will tell you, at $16 an hour at Radial, you're not going to afford a $300,000 house. And so those that are not skilled and those that aren't ready to make that jump, where are they going to live? Our homeless crisis is getting ready to increase. We've already have an agreement with Jefferson Community College that once we get a facility, we can bring a welding program and an auto mechanic program here to Boulder County. That's going to be federally funded with grant money through JCTC that we can't do if we don't have a place to do it. And that's going to help not just those who are unhomed, but those are going to help those that are uneducated. I don't know if you have seen the latest results, but the average education of Bullitt County is 10th grade. And I know that's hard to believe because we sit in this room and we are the haves, but I will tell you the have-nots, it's a large population of our county. And so we need to address that, and Mark 12 wants to address that. So real quick, I'm just going to give you a proposal. This is a proposal, if I can hand this out to you all. So this proposal lays out two suggestions, two recommendations, if you will. The first is for Mark 12 to enter into a short-term, probably 12-month lease with the city to take into account what revenue was generated by the community center from 2017 to 2019 when it was in use. We realize that it's not been in use for the last few years, but we would lease it for whatever that dollar amount of revenue that was generated by people renting it, leasing it, and et cetera. That's our first proposal. The next proposal, which we hope that you really consider, is a long-term solution. And what that is coming into agreement to 3 to 5 years. It would be $1 a year, very similar to what Bullitt County did with Housing First. But what we would do in that is that we, as Mark 12, we would pay for all the maintenance, we would pay for all the utilities, and also renovation of the building. And see, that would be when we would have an opportunity to go to other cities in this county and talk to them about how they're using their ARPA money to fund facility grants to be able to beautify and renovate the community center, to be able to do the things that Nate just talked about. It's not just shelter. Yes, I know that we're kind of known for the White Flag Shelter, okay, and we've done that for the last 4 years. We've ministered to over 400 individuals, and yes, they're not all from Bullitt County. They're from all over the Commonwealth. But we also, Shepherdsville's right on the highway. We get calls from the 5-star. We get calls from the hotels. We get calls from Mr. Gaddy's. We actually have law enforcement at 2 o'clock in the morning drop off people that they find in ditches shivering cold. And they bring them to the shelter. And we take care of them. And we don't ask questions. But what we want to do is very similar to what we're doing with Room in the Inn. Mark 12 took over Room in the Inn November 1st. And I can guarantee you that as an organization, we're operating it much differently than it was being operated before. We have 6 participants in it right now. They're successful, they're clean, and they're sober. And we're helping them get back on their feet, setting up saving plans absolutely free. We're not charging them anything. We're getting them ready to make that next step. And actually 2 of those individuals, right, 2, Jenny, are ready to get housing from VOA. And so they're at the point where they're getting ready to graduate, not just into, hey, you got a job and you got $6 grand in your pocket, but we're helping you get into housing and transportation. See, that's what we're hopeful to do, is be able to get people and give them the hand up that they so rightfully deserve. And so, real quick, if you do support Mark 12, you're here tonight supporting Mark 12, can you just show hands, just so that the council knows? I know you get a lot of complaints. You get a lot of calls about the homeless. And like Nate said, we didn't go pick them all up and bring them from Louisville. I swear to you. But what we did is I answer the phone every single day. 20, 30, 40 calls. People needing help. They need their bills paid. They need help figuring out how just to call LG&E and not get the power shut off. They need help just figuring out, how am I going to feed my 3 kids today? Because I don't have any food. I couldn't get out. My car's broke down. My wife and I jump in the car with a box of food, and we take it to them. And so, I don't know if you realize, there's a lot of people in our county that suffer from that. I get calls from Tiffany Reynolds. I get calls from the schools, from the resource officers, asking for help. If my phone turns off, people will notice. And so I just ask for your partnership and your support. I will also say, and I know the law enforcement is going to speak tonight, I have a partnership with every city's law enforcement except for Shepherdsville. And what I mean by that is every chief is a big supporter of what we're doing at Mark 12. They pick up the phone and they call me. Unfortunately, I have not heard from the chief here. And I just want to let you know that. That when there is, if it's the library that calls me, I always pick up the phone. If it's the Walmart at 2 o'clock in the morning that calls me and says, hey, there's someone up here knocking stuff down, I pick up the phone. Because I want to make sure that we take care of those in need in our community. That's all I have to say.
Thank you,
so
Perry.
much.
Thank you so much. Okay, give me a second. Billy Allen? Good evening. So the usual, I mean, everybody knows you, but for the CD, name and your Shepherdsville city business address.
It's Billy Allen with the Shepherdsville Police Department. City address is 634 Conestoga Parkway.
Thank you.
I met every one of you. Again, my name is Billy Allen. I'm a sergeant with the Shepherdsville Police Department. I'm currently a day shift supervisor in patrol, our patrol division. I'm here today. I spoke to the chief this morning. I'm not calling anybody out or anything like that. This is just a mere perspective of what we've been dealing with and the complaints we've been getting. So, just kind of want to shed some light on some recent problems that our patrol officers have been having and encountering on a daily basis. Over the past several weeks, we responded to a mass number of calls regarding suspicious person, trespassing complaints, disorderly persons, intoxicated subjects throughout the entire city. The individuals we've been coming in contact with are choosing to live this lifestyle. We've offered help. There's the same 12 to 15 subjects that we've been running across and responding to. They're not down on your luck, lost their job or home due to being laid off or downsizing or during COVID, or just a run of bad luck and lost everything they've owned. The individuals we've been dealing with, like I said, there's a good 8 to 15 regulars, and we are keeping track of them. They're individuals who are choosing to live a lifestyle on the street, panhandling for free money, taking free handouts, and refusing to make an attempt to better themselves or be a productive member of our society. We've made repeated runs on the same individuals. The individuals we responded to have been offered help from officers. We've had several officers that had bought meals, bought hotel stays, which didn't last long because the next day we get called back there due to them being intoxicated, refusing to leave the hotel room. So we are trying. We have several officers that are helping. We've offered assistance in finding jobs. Every restaurant, warehouse, place of employment that I know of in Shepherdsville right now is currently hiring. Several instances we've offered rides to Louisville or surrounding area wherever that assistance in drug treatment or other commodities for their situation is offered. Again, the subjects we've been dealing with, they have completely refused assistance. Dealt with 2 individuals yesterday, same thing, intoxicated, just absolutely refused the help we offered to take them wherever they want to go. We're responding to complaints daily from business owners, managers, and employees about the same subjects: cursing, shouting, making threatening statements, and just being outright rude. When they're asked to leave the business or the property because of that type of behavior, they immediately respond to the owners, the managers, or the employees, the person that called to have them removed, in a threatening manner also. When they do that, it is usually when they refuse to leave that the police department itself will actually get a call for service. And that call, again, might be because somebody's disorderly, threatening manner, et cetera, et cetera. I personally made a run not too long ago, and I'm sorry, but a 17-year-old juvenile who goes to Bullitt Central High School, works a part-time job at a restaurant as a cashier, should not be talked to in a threatening manner because she's doing her job and asks somebody to leave. There are several subjects within the area who's been trespassed from nearly every store, restaurant, or gas station within the city. We've made several runs over to the library for subjects overdosing in front of families and children. The same thing happened outside in the parking lot, in the walkway. When we make contact with these individuals, we attempt to gather personal information, stuff like that, in order to make a positive ID. While conversing with them, they're often asked the same questions, and one of those is, what residence did they last stay at? Again, this is not every case, but some have stated they're from Louisville. We've received one from Nashville, Indianapolis, and even as far north as Michigan. Business owners and managers and employees have been expressing their anger and frustrations to patrol officers, along with me, on a daily basis regarding the situations I've just described. I've been in law enforcement for 13 years. I've worked for Shepherdsville. This is my 8th year here, 4 years prior with the Bullitt County Sheriff's Office. I've never heard the complaints that we've been hearing the past several weeks, a couple months, that we've been hearing here lately. I've never heard that before. I have with me also, Major Patchen also has a list. this past weekend, I ran a CAD search through dispatch. CADs are, anytime a call comes into dispatch for service, for police, fire, EMS, whatever the case may be, they call them CAD sheets. I did just a search from February 1st to the morning of February 13th, yesterday morning. 12 days, 25 calls for service. All the same instances: trespassing, as I described earlier, disorderly people, being intoxicated. The subjects we've been dealing with, like I said, there's been the same 8 to 15 or so. They're all stating to officers that they currently using the shelter at the community center on a nightly basis. Evidently, there's a problem though when they're released from the shelter in the morning. They're causing several problems within businesses in the community. Again, although I know the intentions of the shelter, and all officers do, they'll say the same thing. We know the intentions are good, we really do. And I just want to give you guys another perspective on what we've been dealing with, as sort of eyes and ears on the ground, what we have been making runs on a daily basis. That's it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
We have been operating since December 3rd, a block over. Literally a block over at Mercyville Church. And so I know the individuals he's talking about, and I think he makes a great argument for what I just presented. It's a lack of relationships. It's a lack of relationships with these that are mentally ill, mentally disabled. They're alcoholics, they're drug addicts. I can name all of them. I know they're from here. Yes, there are some that aren't from our county, but how many were from the county, sir?
I don't have a number.
You don't have it?
No.
So out of the 12 to 18, you said there was one?
We can discuss this later. This isn't a discussion.
He spoke
his opinion.
I was just asking a question,
That's
sir. All right, I was just asking a question. That I would say that they're also from Old County. I mean, our volunteers went to school with them. And so, it is about relationship. But we have been operating since December 3rd, and it's the same individuals, like I said, over 50 that we've had in our shelter. And we've had some that are every night. We have some that are working. They work at Gaddy's, they work at Taco Bell, they work at White Flower, they work at Tower. And so I know these individuals. If we had a facility, we wouldn't send them to the library. We'd be open all the time. And so they'd have a place that we can continue to build those relationships. That's all I have to say, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions, council? All right, we'll take this under advisement. So,
Next, department head reports. Arthur, you got anything?
No, sir.
You'll have something executive session, right?
Correct.
Okay. Chief Lane, you got anything?
I do.
Okay.
Sent an email to the council the other night, advising them of our overage. We're 9 personnel short right now. 3 of them are off injured, and we're in a hiring process that we started out with 9 candidates, we're down to 2. We just can't find people that wanna apply and work. And it's not just here, it's pretty much all around. There's no real quick solution to it. We're getting ready to put it back out to try to get more to apply. I don't know if we will or not. We've looked at doing recruit classes, because right now, currently, you have to be a certified firefighter to apply for the department. That's the way most departments in this area are set up. There are a few that they'll hire you off the street and put you through a recruit class and train you and put you to work. We've looked at that, but with the time frame right now, we really need to get these people hired in to alleviate our overtime. Currently right now, to keep 3 company staffed, we're averaging about 30,000 a month in overtime. So, right now, we're over $56,000 in our scheduled overtime budget. To continue to keep coverage throughout the rest of this year and what we are already over, it's gonna take about $216,000.
Any questions for Lane?
So what do we need to do? Are we looking at trying to find money in the budget somewhere to cover this, or?
That's what I'd like to do. I'd like to get some people hired. It's just if we can find good qualified candidates to do it.
So are we looking at maybe starting our own recruit class if we have to?
We're looking into it, but you're looking at,
But that's quite a bit of time before we can,
you're looking at, probably 16 weeks just for the fire academy portion of it, and probably 12 weeks of the EMT class portion of it. And that's not even including the process for the hiring.
Not a quick fix.
So,
It's not a quick fix.
so your overall budget though is good,
Our overall budget's,
it's a line
it's
item.
in pretty good shape. The only other area in our budget, I think we're over in it right now, is the maintenance budget. And that's because of, two of the trucks, there was a recall on the engines in them. And, they were out of service for quite some time, so we're using two of the reserve apparatus, which costs a lot of money to keep up.
Okay,
So-
now,
is there any place in your budget that you have available funds to move over?
We may, in our, because part of the grant that we put in for to build the building at Station 2 for storage and training, we had some money in this budget to help, like with concrete for that. But those areas we might be able to cut out and use that.
Okay.
That was, and at the end of the year, the good thing is, in our budget, in our payroll, since we haven't hired all these people just yet, there's still money that's gonna be left over at the end of the year in those two categories, in our regular time and our scheduled overtime.
Okay. Is ARPA funds available to be used for that?
Things y'all can discuss.
That's something that we'll have to discuss and
yeah,
look up
it's
the
for lost-
legalities
it's
of
for
it.
lost revenue.
But I don't know about shortfall of,
And I'm happy to look into that, and it's, a lot of that
No,
is
I know it can't just
semantics and
put-
making it fit, so
Yeah.
it's something we can look at.
That's
try to make
actually what I
something
read
fit,
on it,
but-
it is,
Yeah.
it
it's
is
for
what you read.
retention of employees.
Retention?
So maybe we
Okay.
can make a note for the ARPA meeting, we can
Yeah.
Yeah,
research
add
that too. Okay,
So-
Lane, you have any, oh, go ahead, Lisa,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
So, in recruiting new firefighters, is there maybe an option to give them an incentive, a bonus to come to Shepherdsville?
There could be. I mean, the goal is down the road is to start our own recruit class and try to take from the high schools, seniors that are just getting out, that are looking for jobs. I mean, it's a good job, it's a good paying job. Two or three of the candidates that we had in this group right here, they left for other jobs in Jefferson County because of benefits. The benefits are much better than we have.
And was that the health benefit?
It is,
Yeah.
health insurance, most of the Jefferson County departments, when you get on, full family plan, and you don't pay a dime for health, nothing. There's no co-pays, nothing.
We can't compete with that.
All right.
Hard to compete with that. Okay, any other reports for?
That's it.
Any questions, y'all? Okay.
Thank
All right,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Major, you have anything? Okay, all right. Okay, Ms. Bonnie, you got anything?
No.
And Mr. Mike, you have anything, sir?
Just regarding the Mark 12 Ministry, my wife and I'll go ahead and say this up front, and my wife and I both volunteer there, in the evenings, early mornings, helping prepare meals and such. And as far as finding these individuals out on the street causing problems, I've sit there and I watched on cold nights, I wouldn't keep an animal outside. An individual will walk in voluntarily, take advantage of a meal, maybe take some food with them, a lunch. They have some bag lunches for the next day. They have warm clothing, clean socks, underwear, stuff like that on the shelf that they can avail themselves to. They'll take some of that, and before they lock the doors for the evening, they'll leave. And they'll go right back out into the cold. And this, I'm sure, this is some of the people that our police department pick up. And the individuals won't voluntarily stay there. And I know personally, I had to put an individual out because of the way he was treating the other individuals in there. And then he continued to do it outside. And he finally left. And within a couple hours, he was in jail again. And he's still there. So that's what our police department deals with. That's what our community deals with. And like I said, this individual was around town a lot. So it wasn't imported for the day. They were here. They were here frequently. They were here often. And they chose not to take advantage. And you can't force them into doing it. So all I can say is that I know anyone that wants help and will accept help, it's there. Those that don't, you can't make them. And they will be society's problem. So that's all I got right now, so.
Okay, thank you, sir. Ms. Stacy?
Did you say Tom was here?
No, he called and had to
Okay.
come up with something.
I've got something I'll just call him about.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Okay. Anything?
Any word on the railroad tracks?
Not yet, no.
That's all I have. Same thing. I had it on my list.
I was ready. Which didn't help any, but.
Yeah. Mr. Kenny, got anything?
Any more word on splash pad?
I talked to him today, still waiting on the tank.
Okay.
I think he said, the tank did go up. It's the supply chain from Canada. And over in Asia. Yeah. So we're not blaming, hey, for the record, we're not blaming no truckers, okay?
Sitting on a boat.
But,
It's
yeah.
on one of them truckers.
Okay, but yeah, thank you, Frank.
That's all I have.
Okay, Lisa, got anything?
I was gonna ask about CSX also, but Deb did, so. I would like to talk, I know Mike, he spoke on Mark 12 ministry.
Yes.
I've had some time off recently. I work at Ford Motor Company, and they had some down weeks due to part shortages. And I've done a little volunteering at the Mark 12 shelter. And I would just like to say the first night that I visited the shelter over there, I had actually baked a ham and taken over. And as I pulled down the street, there was an individual that was walking down the middle of the street. And I pulled in the parking lot to get out, and this young lady says to me, "Do you know where the White Flag Shelter is?" And the night that I was there, it was very cold, and all she had was a thin sweater on. And I told her this was the location. She had just been released from jail. She had been in jail for 30 days, got locked up in December. And being in jail for 30 days, she did have a cell phone, but she had no way to contact anybody because she didn't have a way to charge her phone. And I personally had not ever seen this. So I had heard Perry speak of this prior in some meetings he had attended, until I physically witnessed a person that had been released from jail that was not from our county, trying to get back to downtown Louisville where she lived. It's very touching to the heart, if you have a heart. So this individual, she came in, and there was folks in the shelter that were volunteering to let her use their phones to try to get access to her family to come and pick her up. And it was on such short notice that she was there until after 12. And some of the folks that were there in the shelter actually ended up giving her a ride to White Castle so that her family members could pick her up from the location so she could get back home. But she come in and she had very little clothes on, because a lot of us in December, if you don't realize, it was pretty warm in December. And she didn't have very many clothes, so she went to the Goodwill over here and they gave her some clothes. So she walked from all the way down from the jail, which is a pretty good ways down the road, from the jail to the Goodwill to get clothes, and from the Goodwill over to the Mark 12 ministry at the church. And she was never so grateful for the help that the volunteers gave her in the shelter so that she could get back home, because she had 2 small children and she missed out on their Christmas because she was locked up in jail. I did volunteer another night over there. Mike said he had volunteered as well with Karen. I volunteered from 12 to 4. And a lot of people don't realize that they have a quiet time, and they have to be in at a certain time, and at 10 o'clock the lights go out. So it's not an all-night party for those folks. They have to be in there, and quiet time means quiet time. In the 4 hours that I was there, I never experienced any issues with any of the folks that were in there. A lot of them, there were several that night that had to get up and go to work the next morning, that had jobs, that is trying to get themselves back on track. Volunteered another day over there on a Saturday, and a lot of us take for granted that we go home to a warm house every night. We get to go home to take a hot shower, be able to wash your clothes. I picked 2 loaves of bread up and some cheese and some butter, and those folks that were in the shelter that evening were never so thankful to have a grilled cheese sandwich, a hot grilled cheese sandwich. So as we served these people their food, made their food for them, they were very grateful. I come out with a broom and I just ask, would any of you gentlemen mind to sweep, pull the chairs out and sweep? And a young gentleman got up and he said, yes ma'am, absolutely. And he took the broom and just swept. And I think for the most part, some of these people are really, really needing that help. And I would just like to say, if we as a city can work something out with the ministry, I think it's something we need to do, because it's not, and I'm sure the police department, they are having their issues. I don't necessarily think it's everybody that's in the shelter though. If anybody would go down and just spend 4 hours volunteering, I think you all would see the type of people that are in there, and they're not choosing to be in there. It's just that some of them have been sick, have had jobs and gotten sick and had to go for treatments and things, and they've lost their jobs, then they've lost their apartments, and then they're homeless. I think that the thing that really got me is the high school student from Bullitt East. My daughter was the valet at her class in 2020 at Bullitt Central, and when I heard the fact that the top student at Bullitt East High School lived in her parents' van for almost a year, that's heart-wrenching. And if you don't have a heart and you don't see it that way, I'm sorry, but it's time for us to help some people.
we have, executive
Yes.
session?
Mayor, we would need a motion to go to adjourn to executive session pursuant to KRS 61.810 to discuss litigation and negotiations with a business entity.
Okay, entertain a motion. Motion Kenny, second Lisa? Okay. Okay, all in favor for executive session? 6-0. All right, we'll be back, y'all. Thank you.
Hey, we'll let Darren roll in real fast.
Motion to return? Second.
Motion by Lonnie, okay, second by Stacy, all in favor? All right, 6 hands returned. Okay, I think we
Kenny?
have
What month is it?
Yours.
Thank you.
It's all you.
not ready yet. Okay, Deb?
I make a motion to approve off-site floodplain credits and lieu fees in relation to C5 Bullet 2 Logistics Center and Current Water Sports dealership for property owned by Rolling Acres Farm LLC.
Okay, entertain a second.
Second.
Second is Bonnie, all in favor? Carry 6-0, thank you. Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Oh, Mike. Yeah, you got it.
Fighting mode.
Lacey got you that time.
So Mike got a motion to adjourn?
You better not.
And Lisa got a second?
Lisa got second.
Okay, those in favor? It carries 6-0, thank you.
Dangerous territory you're walking there.
We only got one more this month and then it rolls again. There you go. That's right.
Then I get in trouble.
23rd at 6:30.
How long was
Don't forget, y'all, 23rd at 6:30. Instead of then our 28th.